Candace Owens is an evil, twisted human being.
You. Go yourself. You demonic scum.
Candace Owens is going to get Erika Kirk murdered.
You've got obviously a degree in griftology.
Right.
And I think, you're the professor of grifting at the University of Grift. And, the presidency of grift will be yours for the rest of your life.
I was served lemons, but I made lemonade.
Imagine you found a weapon so perfect. You sharpened it, formed it, platform it, and even defend it. Then suddenly, that weapon turns and aims at you. That is exactly what is happening to many of these right-wingers you see crying around, men crying like babies. That's exactly what's happening to them. For years, Candace Owens built a career on confrontation. And those of you who are saying, Candace has gotten worse. Well, it is because, this is my opinion, you just found Candace Owens, or when she was attacking someone you did not like, for the same reason she's doing it for someone now you like, you thought it was okay. So I will put you in the group of those in the Ben Shapiro group, and I will address you guys. And then there are some people who just found Candace Owens, and in this video I will illuminate your mind who Candy Baby has been for a long time. Many of us have known her. It's just Baby girl has been on this shit for a while, okay? Forget all the bumbo bag, Jesus Christ, Lord, blah, 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 blah. Calm down. Let's get to the real Candy. The original OG Candy Baby. The one who is not to be toyed with.
Well, and just also understand that someone was deathly serious when they wrote it.
Yes, exactly.
Like they were like, this is it. I'm going to write this angry
I will crush
words.
them
Yeah,
with
this
comment.
This comment.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
Yeah,
like, guys, nobody
like,
cares.
Nobody cares about what you think. Like, I just couldn't care less. Like,
I know.
Like, your life is great. I'm sure you live in like a small village in the southwest of Italy, or like, or like Spain, or where like Arkansas, or it doesn't matter. Like, like you're not going to affect my life. But the trolls really do think they do.
They really think they can. Like if they just write it enough and viciously enough that suddenly I'm going to collapse. And I'm like, no.
She rejected media sainthood. If you were eliminated in a certain way by cops or any other thing, and you were painted as someone who did not deserve to die the way you did, please, Candace was about to show out of the bushes. She will pop up from nowhere and she will start canceling the hell out of you, okay? She would dig into criminal records. If you ever had as much as a parking ticket, you're about to go down for that ticket. You shouldn't have parked wrongly on that day, okay, before you died. She is going to look into your records, do everything to ensure that at the end of her expose, you are a shitty person. And she wants to convert others, even those who felt bad for you, had empathy for you, to think, well, maybe you deserve to die. Because if you ever committed a crime, somehow you parked wrongly, or you did something she didn't like, not because it was a crime, it's just something she doesn't like as a conservative, yeah, you deserve to. That is the kind of time Candace Owens was on. And do you know the truth? The people who supported her, well, what I say support, it sounds really so minute and tiny, their contribution. Let me give the real contribution. They actually hired her, platformed her, for her to say the things they could not say. You might ask why. Well, Candace Owens has a particular skin color and a particular gender which falls under certain categories we combine under minority in the United States system or eco-political system, and she could say some certain things that they don't want to say it then, but they just needed a familiar face to say it. So by the time she's done with your documentary, your series, or an episode on you, if you were ended, deleted, she will ensure that the few people who had a little tiny of empathy for you and for the way you were ended, they had to come to the realization that you deserved to die. That is the kind of time Candy has been on. And you know the people who supported, in fact, they platformed her. Tiny Benny on riding on his horse was riding Candace right into the kingdom of the conservative media at that moment. They were shouting her out, platforming her, paying her millions and hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know how much was her contract. Please, Don't take my word on that. But any other thing, you should take my word on it, in my opinion. Well, these are facts. What am I talking about? She defended Andrew Tate while she was at the Daily Wire. Okay. And I'm going to give you so many instances where she did things like this. And the same people who are now screaming around were there then, and they found nothing wrong with it. And we will discuss the real reason why they're angry with her carrying out the same activities she's always carried out before. She was rewarded at that time, publicly praised. But now that her scrutiny has shifted inwards, that someone really put it in a very beautiful way. I'd like him to do it for us.
Yeah, these guys thought they could train their audience to somehow only resent Muslims and black people. And the reason they're all flailing now is that they lost the cultural momentum and the monster they created is looking back at them. The fact that Candace is unhinged was obvious from day one. We've covered it in detail, in great detail. Conservative media made her a star anyway. If there's anyone to be blamed for what she's become, it's themselves for building her profile in the first place.
Thank you very much, sir, for elaborating that so beautifully. Now, the questions we have to ask ourselves now is, why is it that these same voices who applauded and amplified her, paid her hundreds of thousands of dollars to do exactly what she's doing now, trained her in it? She became so good at it, she trained staff to do it with her. Why are they suddenly mad, horrified, shocked, and calling it evil? The real question isn't just about Candace Owens. No, it's not about her or her standards. Her standards have always been below the ocean. We know that. The girl can go low, okay? When Michelle Obama said...
No, our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
Oh, Michelle. Where was Candy Baby when you were giving all these life lessons, to the black women in the black community? In fact, to women in general in the world, where was she? Because Candy Baby has always had a reputation to go lower when you dare to poke her. In her own words, she planned, you know what, let the girl do her thing. Baby girl, show up.
They posted photos of my manager's infant daughter, my makeup artist, my family members. Lots of voicemail from my producer. Okay. Well, this was initially supposed to be just 3 episodes, but now I'm thinking about a season 2 and a season 3. Because if you haven't quite figured me out yet.
If you have not figured Candace Owens, let me explain her in just a few sentences. Whenever she drops something, if you really, really want Candace Owens to let it be alone, don't say a word. Just be quiet, okay? You can sneak watch it and just be quiet. Mute, silencieux. Quand tu parles, tu l'invites de crier plus de service. Maintenant, on est en saison 3 et 4. Je sais pas. Parce qu'elle devait faire seulement 2 épisodes. Vous avez fait maintenant, elle va commencer à regarder tout le monde dans la famille. Même tous les voisines ne sont pas... ils sont tous là. Oh mon Dieu. And why was the freak out actually? What were people freaking out about? Oh, the trailer. Yeah, the trailer. The trailer where Candace had no new information. She did not add even her voice in it. It had nothing. Nothing that required outrage. It was information that has been out there. She just compiled them together and put it in a few, I think it was 2 minutes. Let's see what caused the outrage.
President Trump says that Kirk has died after he was shot from a nearby building after being shot at Utah Valley University. The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead.
The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. I didn't even get to give him a kiss goodbye. That young man, I forgive him.
Take your time.
Erika Kirk has been named the new CEO of Turning Point USA.
My husband's dead. I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead.
It's weird to say excited.
Describes her husband's funeral as the event of the century. Merch, hats.
We have 50,000 plus hat orders.
Nobody knows why she's out there in a glittering pantsuit in a recreated tent that her husband tragically was murdered in, throwing merch out.
Everyone grieves differently, so if someone's acting weird, don't read into that.
Zionists the Prime Minister of Israel, all lied through their teeth about Charlie Kirk.
Her operation was in Constanta, the epicenter of Romania's trafficking scandal.
We are conversations to have with a 15-year-old. I'm gonna touch your butt.
$8.6 million to their own shell company. What is going on?
We have nothing to hide. My aunt used to tell me, never do something that you don't want on the front page of a newspaper.
I totally agree with you, Erika. You should not do anything that you don't want to see at the front page. You shouldn't. And this is the reason why we had all this outrage from the right. They were screaming foul, complaining. And we have to ask, where is all this sudden moral, these moral heroes and empathy defenders? Where are they coming from? Because we have not seen. We were looking for people who could empathize in the right. They were nowhere in the room. Every time something happened to a human being, just a human being, if their political views or political party is different other than theirs, it's about to go down. And Candace Owens was given the head honcho position to handle those in the smaller section, like those in the minority section, Latinas, the blacks, the Africans. Yeah, she was on that part. And they never thought that she was going to turn on them. And I would like us to look at other instances where Candace Owens was just a raging person. Same kind of person she is today. And these same people screaming left, right, platformed her, paid her hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. They praised it, amplified it. Let's look at the pattern. To understand the current outrage and all the people talking especially, we have to go a little back. In 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Candace Owens released a viral video challenging the public narrative about him. She highlighted his criminal past. She argued he was being falsely elevated as a hero. She said his death was wrong, but rejected what she called myth-making. I would just like to ask a few questions. Conservative media, what did they do? They circulated the clips widely. There was no major moral reckoning within the right-wing circles about attacking a deceased man, his family, who could not defend himself. No widespread chorus of leave the grieving family alone. No. I didn't hear that. Nowhere in the right-wing media. There was no major moral reckoning in the right-wing era. The same pattern repeated after the death of Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. I'm so sorry to these individuals if I did not pronounce their name properly. I apologize deeply. It is not my intention. Just my accent, tongue, and everything about, how this works. Owens questioned dominant narratives. She framed media coverage as manipulative. She dug into details that supporters saw as necessary truth-telling and critics saw as insensitive. She remained a major voice at the Daily Wire, co-owned by who? Tiny Benny Shapiro. On his midget horse. He has been riding that midget horse of moral bankruptcy for a long time. All of a sudden, he knows the Bible, knows something about morals and leaving grieving families all alone. Sir, shut your hypocritical ass out of here, please. Walk it out of here. In fact, call your midget horse to ride you out of here. Because when it comes to conversations of moral high grounds or moral understanding of empathy, sir, you have never. In fact, when we look in the room, we don't even see anything that starts with B, talk less Ben and a Shapiro around it. We don't see it. She remained there. She was publicly praised. Also by Donald Trump when she was doing that. Her brand grew. They amplified her. Even earlier in 2018, when she invoked the murder of Molly Tibet in arguments about immigration policy and a family member publicly rebuked her, the backlash inside conservative media was limited and short-lived. The formula worked. it worked perfectly well because Candace Owens had understood one thing. If it comes to rebuking and digging into the backgrounds of individuals who have just been, especially those who are involved in controversial death, like people who are involved with police, it's something that has to do with racial problems, something that has to do with someone dying and something is controversial about it, she knew that milking the situation has something to benefit her. And I would like to say something here. This is not me saying that whatever anybody said about someone was completely false or completely true. This is what I'm saying. To every individual, someone is special. And the truth is this, whether someone is special or not has to do with the person involved with them, right? For example, someone could die and you consider that person the most deplorable or despicable human being in your book, but that person had loved ones. So if you are to chastise someone just due to their political standings or because they had a record in their book or they had done something you did not agree with them and they die, their family members, do you think the grief to the loved ones, those who love that person, do you think the grief is smaller? No. And this is one truth I have seen both on the right and on the left. They are going to milk the death of anyone they can milk to fulfill or promote or uplift or even start a new political agenda, because that is why the wars of the left versus right were created for. What do you think they were for? It is to ensure that the population stays divided, and that is just one major way they use the population to ensure this division. So when someone dies, if that person was on the left is going to milk it dry to fulfill an agenda. You just have to see the truth for what it is. If it is on the right, you see the Charlification of Charlie Kirk. It's the same damn thing the left did when it came to George Floyd or any other person. People, there are always going to be individuals in any side of the aisle who are going to take that and turn it into some political situation. But the truth is this, there are always individuals who love that person, who are grieving, who are in pain. And the fact that that person had views before does not eliminate the pain or the anger, the fury that the person grieving is going through. Now, here is where it is different. During the time when the left was grieving someone, the right said it was nothing. What the hell? Who? No, we don't care. They are not conservatives. And they went further to promote Candace, who was tearing down their family, hurting those who were what? In pain. And do you know the difference between those people before and the one we are about to finish talking about now? All of those people were not public figures. They did not hold a position as CEO in any company. They were not public figures. Those were just private citizens who happened to be part of a controversial death because somehow it was politicized and turned into a circus. The difference between those and this one now is that now we are talking about a woman who, when her husband died, she decided 3 days later to be on a podcast smiling and saying she's so excited about the content she's about to put out on her husband. She went on the book tour. She went on shop. She went out there. She took over the position of CEO in a few days after. She was giving speeches. She assumed public role. Now, do I say it demanded or merited her getting dragged to field for no reason? No reason. Listen again. No reason. No. But is she fair game when it comes to putting yourself in public view and becoming a public figure after her husband's? Yeah, that's the truth. Someday could be me. My life could be turned inside out because I have made myself someone who speaks about public issues. And I will know and understand it is part of the game. But now, if you see me coming out here and start crying victim, that is pretense. Because once anybody, let me tell you, I am nobody. But anytime, from the time I wanted to put my voice out here, I understood the terms and conditions of becoming a public person. Do you think Erika Kirk, who became the CEO of a multi-million company, and in fact, from what we've heard, investors are about to turn into $1 billion company, did not know that putting herself out there, she's about to be fair game to anyone who wants to investigate her? After Erika Kirk went public, what happened? After Charlie went, this woman's life, she had several documentaries made about her. There were several background documentaries about who Erika Kirk is, biography and everything, done by several people. One is I did myself because I didn't know the woman before. Her husband, and I did my own thing on her. Everybody did. So suddenly, why is it that Candace Owens trying to do her own thing is now causing this havoc? Do you know why? They know that they had trained a deep, sharp weapon. One that cuts without mercy, one that goes in all when it comes to digging into your past. And if you have any skeletons to hide, she will bring it out. They know. That is why they panicked. That is why she put out a trailer that had nothing to be said when it comes to the truth about whatever she had to do in the documentary. Because that trailer contained nothing other than clips from other people and everything that had been out there. And they went nuts. Her barely announcing it caused a stir because they knew the weapon they had fashioned. They thought that weapon would stay hating on a certain group of people, hating on a certain side of the political aisle. But when that weapon, after being sharpened, perfected, designed and spec'd to do exactly what it's supposed to do, turned inwards, they ran scared. They trembled. Their feet were sweating because they knew this is something that we will not be able to survive. When the target changed, fast forward to the controversy around Charlie Kirk and the scrutiny directed to Erika. This time, Owens' tone, investigative, accusatory, suspense, did not fundamentally change. Candace has always been that. She will find out that you parked a car when you were 12 years or 15 years old or 18 years old and someone gave you a ticket and she will ask you, why are you on Fifth Avenue on the 17th of May 1972? Why were you there, George Floyd? Or let's say Tibet, why were you there? George Floyd, what did his criminal record have to do with him being in that manner? Nothing. Nothing. Because if we are being honest, right? Even criminals, even Syria, they get due diligence. They get due process in the American system. They don't just get poop, 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 poop in the public square because, he has a criminal record. Is that true? Yes. Even in the American system, someone who is a serial deleter gets justice. They are taken before a judge. They are judged, sentenced to prison, or even if they are sentenced to deletion, there are still procedures that ensure that he faces the most painless deletion. Isn't that so? So why is it that Candace Owens is able to perpetuate that? Because someone has a criminal record. That person deserved to be in that manner. Why? And do you know what the right did with that information? They amplified it. They had no problem with it. Because to them, it was fair game. But then the target has shifted. And this is someone who is different from the other targets. She's part of the conservative movement. She is pro-Israel. She will never say a bad word about the Israeli government. She loves that government. And that is a changut in Ben Shapiro's book. She is a woman in the right. Changut. It has nothing to do with whether she's a widow or whatever. No, that doesn't matter to Ben Shapiro. He doesn't care about you grieving or not. The only thing that matters to Ben Shapiro is that you are part of the people he likes. It's the same with damn Bongino or whatever his ugly name is. That stupid individual who could not hack it as some kind of fake FBI person and was sent back to come and sit on a podcast and do exactly what he was doing before he was made some FBI thing. He sat there trying to cry over this. What happened to the Epstein victims whom you guys have been doing everything to cover up the crimes they did? Real, actual crimes. And you're crying over a documentary? But I didn't see this kind of pain. Guys, watch this.
In your house, and you find out from Twitter or, I don't know, a text or a phone call or that your husband was just shot in the neck for the entire world to see on social media at a public event. I can't imagine that. I know you can't either. Then you got to go through this. Then you got a bunch of absolute fucking lunatics sending her emails. You did it. Comments, tweets. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. You demonic fucking scum. And I'm sorry if the language distracts from you, but I can think of no other New York way to say it than fuck you, motherfuckers. You deserve to feel the little licks of the flames of hell on every inch of your body. Fuck you. If there's an afterlife, oh, and I believe there is, I believe in the second creation. I don't pretend to be the judge and jury, but I know you're not in it.
Hey, Dan, I know that you're probably not going to see this because you have me blocked, but I still have to ask, where was this energy for any of the elite pedophiles that you covered up for as deputy director of the FBI? We didn't get a fraction of this anger and empathy for any of Epstein's victims, not to mention Trump's accusers. In fact, you lied to the public to defend these elite pedophiles. Where was your righteous indignation back then?
Well, there was none. Thank you very much for asking him that question. Same damn question. The man sat up there and it feels like he's about to cry as if his entire family has been wiped out because he heard someone is to make a documentary on someone. I didn't see this kind of pain in his eyes when he was covering up for those who did what they did in the Epstein file. To date, we are yet to hear a thing. At least the UK pretended and arrested one person, and another person is also in trouble, some other former person in the United Kingdom. But so far, in the United States, Dan Bongino or whatever his name is and the other Cash Patel people, they have done nada. And Pam Bondi will sit there and talk about the Dow is raising 500,000 million times when she is asked about the Epstein files. These people are ridiculous. You know, it's hard to take any of them serious. Not at all. The moral framing of them has just shifted from challenging the narrative to leave the grieving family alone. What changed? Because that has never been their energy. Suddenly they are crying on podcasts like babies. Oh God, poor Ben Shapiro on his light little tiny horse. He's going through a lot, guys. Have some pity for him, okay? Now this is the difference. Group out and group in. This is where the deeper thing looks here. Political media ecosystem are not neutral moral arbiters, okay? They operate on incentive structures. Attacking the out-group strengthens tribal cohesion. Remember, this is about division. That is what the people at the top, those people who control both sides of the aisle, that is their mission. And they ensure that by putting this political divide and forcing, fooling the entire masses to fight each other. And they put lockheads like this type to forget about moral clarity and get into tribal wars, which is just, oh God. little men of no substance. Attacking the in-group threatens stability. I remember the other day I was watching this podcaster of I've Had It just yesterday, and she was making a confession about how she used to find it difficult to critique people in the Democratic Party because she always felt like she had to defend members of the tribe.
And so I really struggle with this awakening that I've had. I've had a real awakening since Kamala lost, that I bought into a lot of the Democratic establishment propaganda, and I was a good foot soldier in that. And I felt like I couldn't criticize Democrats because I think my thought of that was pretty arrogant, thinking that voters couldn't see that for themselves, that I had to be a part of the hoodwink to lie to voters. And my husband would always be like, oh, this person sucks, that person sucks. I fucking hate Joe Biden. He's not, Merrick Garland's not doing a good job. And I'd be like, don't criticize them.
Don't let anyone know. We can't let people see what they're already seeing.
I was that person. Okay. And so I've had this real awakening, and I'm still processing it.
And it's the same damn thing those on the right do, and they always do. You will not find them defending someone because they like the person or because what the person has done is right. No. If someone on the other side did that same damn thing, they will attack you viciously. The only reason they'll attack you or defend you has to do with whether you're in the group or out of the group. Please, it's aura for aura. Forget about all this drama. They want to tell you about moral high clarity, conservative movement, we like the family phrase, all that bullshit ends as soon as someone the like is part of the criminal organization. Have you seen any of these so-called conservatives who love the family, want to protect the children, who are screaming about release the Epstein files? Have you seen them mention it again? Just very few of them are now out here in the streets critiquing Trump.
I've been pretty quiet about Pam Bondi in front of Congress the other day, talking about how the Dow's up to 50,000. Nobody gives a fuck, because what you should be talking about is how you are going to investigate and prosecute any that were running around on Epstein Island that you're affiliated with. But we didn't talk about that, did we? Oh, and what's the excuse? What was the excuse? Oh, if we prosecute everybody, the whole system would go down. Well, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like how Trump ran his campaign. Let's drain the swamp. Doesn't that sound a lot like draining the swamp? It actually is drain the swamp served up to you on a silver platter. But you're not going to take it, are you? You're going to protect rather than go after them and hope that everybody's happy that the Dow hit 50,000. Are you out of your mind? I guess the whole drain the swamp campaign promise was another bullshit lie, huh? Man, the lies are stacking up fast. I've never seen so many lies appear in, a year? It's only been a year. Look at all the lies.
Yes, we now have a few MAGA people, MAGA diehards like Sean Ryan calling out Trump and his administration. But do you know what the larger mass of the conservative media are going to do? They are going to ride that horse into sunset. Rather than for them to say, this is wrong, they rather die. Loyalty is protection. Outrage is currency. Attacking the in-group threatens stability, which is why they will never do it. And you remember when this other crybaby Graham came out the other day saying he wants to defend Charlie Kirk and end up throwing Charlie Kirk under the bus by saying that Charlie Kirk was pretending to be friendly with Candace Owens just because of the political agenda on ground. So Charlie Kirk was a pretender as well, just same as most of them. Most of them are not supporting Erika Kirk because they think Erika Kirk is doing something perfectly right. No, if this behavior from Erika Kirk, the few lies she has told, and the behavior she is portraying was coming from someone from the left, they will be back in this series with all their full forces. This pretentious outrage of leave the grieving widow alone. And if your only defense for Erika Kirk is leave the grieving widow alone, please, you have no argument. I need you to sit this one out. bring me real arguments of why she should be left alone, not because she's a grieving widow. Do you know how many women who ended their husbands, what do you think they call those? Not widows? Do you think we don't call those widows? They are also widows. Yeah, so I need you to please amp up a little bit. Amp a little bit more your own thing. Bring a reason for, she did not do this to this 15-year-old. And someone commented under my comment section the other day that those text messages between Erika Kirk and the 15-year-old are blown out of proportion. And immediately I said to myself, you should not be left in care of any child. That is my stand, and I stand 10 toes deep into that. If you, after reading those messages, if you're telling me they are faked, that is a different thing. You telling me those messages are blown out of proportion, you should not be left in care of anybody's child, because I'm worried of what you will let happen to that child in the name of it is blown out of proportion. Some of you just gross. Okay, just gross. Some of you have no moral backing, no moral standing when it comes to people you like. You will forgo every moral aptitude or even an inkling of moral ground of your own just because you want to defend someone you've never met. Jesus Christ, guys. Can you grow a little bit of personal? Lord, help me. Help me. When she criticized someone, Candace Owens criticized someone who aligned with the conservative institutional leadership, it is framed as betrayal. This dynamic isn't about left or right. It's about human tribal behavior amplified by digital media economics. Listen, this thing is deeper than most of you, and that's why when I see some of those replies that look like someone just fell off a coconut tree and replied, I just know, I laugh. Influencer politics rewards escalation. It rewards certainty. It rewards emotional intensity. It does not reward nuance. Which is why some of our channels will never grow, because if you have nuance in your critique, if I was someone who just sits here and hates on one person the rest of my life without looking at the nuance of it, I would have grown 10 times bigger. Because some people just come to your channel to hear you insult someone. They don't come there for you to tell them, oh, this could be like this or like that. No. I am here for you to insult Candace, or I'm here for you to insult Erika. That's all I'm here for. I don't care about the nuance of it. But you forget that there is a lot of nuance when it comes to everything in front of you, because there is political media economics involved in all of these public figures. And if you understand the game they are playing, you will reduce your emotional investments, your financial contributions, and you rest easy. Relax. Look for battles within your family to fight. Not fighting for people whose real intentions you've never known. I see, God, Lord. You see someone like Candace Owens, she has mastered the formula. She understands the game. She's been perfecting this shit since 2016 and 17, okay? She did not start today. And do you know those who gave her tools to perfect this thing? The Ben Shapiros with their tiny horses who are now screaming like babies on podcasts, crying, oh, so evil, so demonic. Shut the hell up. Shut up, you little tiny man. No moral ground for you to say a word. Please be quiet. It was on your platform where she disintegrated families that were going through a lot of grief. You said nothing. You amplified and platformed her and paid her to do it. It was on your platform where she defended Andrew Tate, interviewed him, and you said nada. Now you suddenly want to talk about her defending Andrew Tate and those who are defending. Please, does this man even think about what he does? Or anyway, what am I saying? These people, shameless. Escalation has built her brand. It doesn't know how to stop. And eventually, when this escalation consumes all those who are supposed to be those on the outside, at some point it is bent to turn inwards. And now what happens? The hypocrisy begins. So, is this outrage hypocritical? Of course, top-notch, yes. But let's look a little bit inside. Because this depends also on the standards being applied. If the standard is grieving families deserve insulation from aggressive public scrutiny, then the principle should have applied in the 2020s as well, right? When she was bringing down all the families she brought down, which we have listed, till when they were going through. No, at that point, nobody cared. But if the standard is public narratives deserve scrutiny regardless of who it hurts, then the principle would apply now too. Because at the end of the day, if you say, okay, we don't care if you're grieving or not, we have to scrutinize you. So why is it suddenly a problem to do it now? The tension arises because the reaction appears inconsistent. When the criticism damaged opponents, it was defended as truth-telling. When it risks destabilizing internal power, it is condemned as cruelty. And some people might wonder, what do you mean by internal power? Listen, Erika Kirk is not just a grieving widow anymore. She is the head of one of the right's most powerful tools. If you think that young people in a country are not important, let me let you know how important they are. There is a reason Charlie Kirk targeted universities and student bodies, and he claimed going to the university is useless, but he has built his brand on going to university campus and debating them in the name of, in quotes, high alleged here, in the name of debates. The reason he targeted that population, because that's the population that matters in a country. If the youths are for you, you are good. If they are against you, you are not fine. Even the elites know that any youth in a country are the most influential people. They are very good at foiling outrage to either sides of the aisle. You don't see 62 or 45 or 55-year-old people sitting on Twitter, tweeting all day long, foiling outrage. When you see Twitter outrage, anything that is trending on Twitter, it is because some youths have put themselves together and they are either for or against it. So if you are able to rally that youth to your camp, you are doing well. Charlie Kirk had rallied the youth of the country to the conservative movement. And after Erika Kirk took over. And so if you bring down Erika Kirk as an individual, it is also, in retrospect, bringing down Turning Point USA, which is also dissuading the youth who follow the conservative movement, which means the conservative movement is, in fact, really lingering on threats. And when you have individuals like Nick Fuentes adding soil, in fact, more paprika into the problem, there is, Lord, the right has a lot to cry about. I understand.
My message in 26, you could take it or leave it. Don't vote. Don't vote. Do not vote in the midterms. The Republicans have to lose. They have to lose. They have to crash and burn. A cleansing fire is the only thing that will save us. It cannot be fixed. Fuck them. Fuck Trump. Fuck MAGA. Fuck all this stuff. It can't be fixed. If it could have been fixed, it would have been fixed in 2025, but it wasn't. They made every mistake. Liberation Day, disaster. Doge, disaster. Big Beautiful Bill, disaster. Epstein files, disaster. Iran, disaster. The personnel, Mike Waltz, disaster. Ratcliffe, disaster. Rubio, disaster. Pam Bondi, disaster. All self-inflicted. Trump personnel, Trump policy, Trump strategy, Trump playbook. We tried it your way. It didn't work. Fuck you. Now we don't vote. That's the message.
You might look at them defending Erika as some kind of martyrdom, action of affection and moral high ground or moral clarity, which they have suddenly gained all of a sudden. But listen, this is about protecting political and party lines, because Erika Kirk represents a group of people they need, especially when you have people like Nick out here talking the way he does. What do you think will happen to the MAGA party or the conservative side? It is a risk they cannot take. So if they have to, even if they have to defend anything, they will defend anything to ensure that they conserve the little left of their party. And as soon as Erika steps out of line, even by an inch, she'll be dropped like a hot potato. Or even if she never steps out of line, if her use gets finished and the need to pivot, well, she'll still be dropped like a hot potato because the agenda will no longer need her. That's just a political aspect. Yeah. And that is when the contrast forces the perception of selective morality. Here's a bigger lesson, and I'd like you to all have this at the back of your mind so you don't have to stress yourself and wonder what's going on here. Relax. Candace Owens did not create this ecosystem. No, she did not, believe me. I know many people would like to consider Candace as the big bad baby girl who is just evil. Oh, many baby, please calm down. She understood the system. She operated within it, perfected it for years. Outrage-driven political media across ideological lines has rewarded the most forceful voices in the room, the most controversial ones in the room. Okay? Platforms grew, donations increased, audiences hardened. She get hired every single damn time. Oh, she was controversial when she was working with TPSA. They fired her because she said something that was allegedly anti. The next minute, who picks her up? PragerU. PragerU owned by a Jewish person, right? Why would a Jewish person, pick up someone who said something that was anti them? Just questions, please. Don't shoot the messenger. Just listen to the message. Then she does something again that didn't work. Who picks her up again? Ben Shapiro, another Jew. You see what I mean? So if they had known that she is this anti-Semitic, demonic, bad person, why did they keep picking her up and amping her up? Why? Because these people don't care about any moral high ground or anything. They care about the largest, most pompous, bombastic voice in the house. The one that is going to deliver the message without fear. The one who is going to do it irregardless of what any of y'all think. Which is why when you guys said, oh Lord, she's doing this to Erika Kirk, she said she's changed her mind. I'm no longer doing a 2-part series. This time around, I think I'm gonna do Season 1, 2, 3, you know what? The girl's about to go out. What happened? Just quick question, guys. What happened to the investigation she was doing into the Charlie Kirk assassin? Or are we going to tie the investigation into Erika Kirk to the investigation of the Charlie Kirk thing? Did we come out with any conclusions yet? No? Okay, we just dropped it like a hot potato. We'll move. Okay, fine, I get it. The girl has to do the Erika Kirk. Then maybe she will pick up another person who is tied to TPUSA or Charlie Kirk. Another person she will investigate. And then maybe somewhere, 62 years later, we can tie it all together and get a result on actually what happened to Charlie Kirk. Eventually, we will get there. I think so. So eventually also, someone will realize that the machine has no brakes. The machine, Candace Owens, right? The machine that was forged, I didn't forge it. The people complaining are the ones who did it. So please, I need you to sit your ass down and relax. When the sword turns inward, people call it dangerous. They call it evil, demonic. But it was always sharp. It was always pointed. It was always cutting without care. And the only difference now from what happened before and now is proximity to the person. The sword did not change its behavior. The sword did not suddenly start losing its morals. The sword did not start changing its behavior or manner of approach. The moment is less about Candace. These events taking place has nothing to do with her, if you ask my personal opinion. Candace is always gonna be Candace. I think her husband has a perfect way of putting it together for us. Let him tie this knot for us.
You've got obviously a degree in griftology.
Right.
And I think, you're the professor of grifting at the University of Grift. And, the presidency of Grift will be yours for the rest of your life.
Thank you very much, George. Anytime I'm lost for words, I know this British man can bring the words down perfectly for me. Well, thank you very much, sir. So let's move forward. Like we were saying, this outrage is deeper. It reveals a far more deeper problem, both in politics and in the life that the political atmosphere fosters. which if we understand, it will help us to decipher the political games and everything being played in front of us. Because at the end of the day, Candace Owens will always be someone who thrives on conflict. She is not changing her standard. But if moral standards are universal, they must apply universally. If scrutiny is accepted when directed outwards, it cannot suddenly become immoral when directed inwards, unless the real issue was never morality at all, but alignment. And when you look at the political sphere, you can see that is it, both on the left and the right, same damn thing. Movements that build influence through confrontation must eventually confront themselves. And when they do, the reaction reveals something deeper than outrage. It reveals what the standard actually was. It was not respect, not restraint, but it was loyalty. And when loyalty is the highest virtue, the sharpest weapon is only virtuous until it points at you. Let me know what you think about everything we have discussed. Have you watched the trailer yet? What do you think about the outrage that is ongoing with these political pundits screaming and crying around, the men shouting and sitting on chairs and crying like babies? Ooh, I wanted to wipe their boo-boos when I looked at them. Come on, man. Grow some balls. Not literally. Okay, let's wipe that image off your mind. Let's transcend to something else. Grow some morality. At least that is something we can all deal or do with. A little bit of it every once in a while. Thank you for coming to the end of this video. What do you think about my thoughts on this thing? Let me know in the comment section. And until next time. Bye-bye. But before we go, let's hear Ben Shapiro cry a little more.
Candace has spent the last several months attacking the widow of Charlie Kirk, Erika Kirk. It took her just a few days after Charlie's sick murder in order to start casting aspersions at Turning Point USA, people who work there all the way up to the highest levels, up to and including Erika Kirk. She was doing that very, very quickly, and she's been doing it for months. She came out with something that she had announced she was doing, which is a series. This is a trailer for a series, a teaser trailer that is titled Bride of Charlie, which is supposedly now an expose on the evil, nefarious, predatory nature of Erika Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, who again was shot in the neck, not by some sort of vast conspiracy involving French intelligence and Egyptian airplanes, but by a trans-loving gay man who is a furry. Because Candace Owens is either going through the throes of mental illness or because she is a sick human being, or both, she has decided that she is going to turn her fire on the widow. Don't believe me? I know. Listen, there are a lot of people who listen to Candace. She has a huge audience. This is what she does. This is who she is. She is a conspiratorial, evil person, because that's who would do something like this. A conspiratorial, evil person. Apparently, she is calling Erika Kirk, she has been calling Erika Kirk a lesbian pedophile grooming a 15-year-old. She is suggesting, of course, she has been suggesting for a while, that TPUSA was complicit, if not in the murder of Charlie Kirk, then in the cover-up of the murder of Charlie Kirk. This is the stuff that Candace Owens has been doing. Because Candace Owens is a true vampire when it comes to conservatism and the conservative movement. She finds prominent people, and then she grifts off of them, and then she does more grifting off of them, and then she grifts them until she's done grifting them. Then she moves on to the next thing she can grift off of. Candace drives huge numbers through slandering people, truly slandering them.